If you do not give the community what they need, your small business will start today and finish tomorrow. Brand value is not something you create. Brand value is something you earn, and if you do not move fast with the community, with the world, with the digital landscape, you will be left behind. A lot of small business owners, the only reason they're going out of business is the lack of adaptability.
So in order to compete with the large businesses, the bare minimum is you have to keep up with the current trends. If they do not, then that business is falling behind.
Branding and marketing is not something that you just post some videos and some photos on digital platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube, video platform, and then hope that you would have people lining up out your store to buy whatever you're selling. No, that's not how it works. You need to create ads. You need to invest in ads. As a small business, you are still trying to grow. Your price cannot stay fixed.
Have your brand in front of the people. That's the first thing, which we discussed, like marketing. That you need to be present digitally and make yourself aware to the public.
If somebody has a liking to what you offer, they will travel hundreds of kilometers just to buy whatever you are selling. Just you creating a website for your small business can take you leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of small business competition out there. Hello everybody, welcome to the Valuement, and today we are going to be discussing something what a lot of small businesses out there completely overlook. This is one extremely essential thing that to the right small business owner who implements this into their business can make their business into an overnight success. A lot of businesses, small businesses, completely overlook this one thing. They know that they require this thing. They know that they need this thing to work out in their small business, but they never end up implementing this one thing. Today, we are going to be talking about marketing and branding and why it is very essential for your small business, especially in today's day and age. Now, with that said, a lot of you out there might agree when I say branding is essential, that branding really is important for a small business to thrive. However, just saying something and acknowledging something does not make your business do its editing and branding all by itself. It is the owner's responsibility to push, if you have any employees, to push the employees to participate, how they communicate with people, how to do the branding inside the business. It is your responsibility to make sure that your small business resonates with what the community is asking for. If you do not give the community what they need, your small business will start today and finish tomorrow. You need to work out all the small details and important details of branding, because branding, you just cannot say what Gucci, Prada, Toyota, Rolls Royce, whatever they are doing. You cannot undertake all those activities into your small business and then think, why are those activities not working for me? Every small business has its own independent needs. Every small business marketing needs are completely different from the competitor, from the other business. But with that said, without delaying this anymore, we'll dive right into this. Sunny, your thoughts?
So branding, it's not just it began just a couple of years ago. Branding has a long history. I'm talking about a couple of thousand of years old history. The earlier concepts of branding, we see that in tribes of South Africa, African tribes, it was used as a scarification on the face or the body. What that represented honor, integrity, a tribe, for a person. Now, that at that time it fulfilled a desire, a human desire, which was the longing to belong, and that where it all I believe started. And it's not been like that. It is a term that has just come a couple of years ago, but it has a concept that has risen forever since humans were born, and it has developed over the years. And we'll discuss about how it traveled throughout the centuries and then started off with what we think it started off with, and then ended up to be what it is right now. There's an old Norse word spelled as Brandr, brand. It means to burn. We see earlier cattlemen, herd rearers, a farmer who has cattle. They burned marks with the iron rods. They burned marks on the kettles as a stamp. Now, this was done to ensure in a community that all these kettles they belong to a particular person. This was done to ensure if there is ever a theft, the cow, the buffaloes, the sheep, they could be easily recognized by the burnt mark, by that stamp, and a decision could be made in a community. There weren't governments formed, or very big authorities at that time, so local communities were relying on concepts that were practical at the time and could be applied on a small scale or on a large scale. So at that time, burning the marks were considered as a form of branding. Now, to backtracking from earlier prehistoric times to right now, branding is involved a lot of concepts. Few of them are, for example, customer recognition. How well your brand could be recognized in one country and compare that to a different country. An example of that could be Apple. That Apple shillette can be recognized worldwide, or it could be McDonald's. The two arches, the golden arches, that could be recognized throughout the globe. So, keeping that in mind, another concept is customer trust or loyalty. How well is that particular brand being trusted by a consumer? Now, that could have multiple segments in it. For example, one of the segment could be a trust based on safe operation, a trust based on, say, food certified operation. For example, if there is a particular stamp of food grade, that means that product has been assured by the government that it meets the basic requirement to fall under that category, and consumers would be much preferential for that food grade product because it has some requirements, some standards that it meets. That means it has been well prepared in a safe operation. Nothing might have been contaminated in that particular product. So it builds trust in that sense. Then the other aspect could be customer experience. How well a customer can explain to the brand ambassadors as to how the brand is treating, how the experience from the point of where that person sees the brand to the persons make a checkout of a particular product to the after sales, what is happening in that area. That concept is very well known by the whole world, and companies are thriving. They have multiple departments on all of these little segments right now. So
Yeah, no, I
it's
understand, Sunny. You're going towards the science of branding, and that is very important. But to the people, what would you say? Okay, let's just tell the people who might out there be looking like, I know there are a lot of people out there who still do not know, Sunny, who, when you talk about branding, if I just talk to an average person walking out there on the street and I ask them, hey, tell me what exactly is branding, and they are going to come out and come at me and tell me, okay, branding is what Gucci is doing, branding is what Louis Vuitton is doing, branding is what Toyota does with its cars, branding is something, this is how they do it. But if I ask them if they have their own small business, what exactly would they do with branding? How would you explain to them the basic nature of branding? This is the science of branding. How would you explain that to them?
correct. There is a wide array of description in terms of branding. For example, some people might say, "Hey, I have a hotel that I see. There's a sign in the city that says, okay, I'm a motel," or it could be, say, a nameplate on the building itself saying, okay, this is the motel name of it, or it could be a logo on the website, or it could be a particular design that the company is going with. So there's a wide array of things that very much different people describe what branding is. In totality, it is the brand value, what the value holds by the brand, what type of things, products, line of businesses, innovation, what values, what ideas that brand holds, what's the nature of that brand, what's the personality of the brand.
No,
That is where we are
that is
coming
no,
up
that is
to now,
true.
right now.
No, that is true, Sunny. The brand value is extremely important, but this is what a lot of people fail to understand. Brand value is not something you create. Brand value is earnest. Brand value is something you earn. The branding and the brand you can create. However, the brand value, it is something that you earn through the actions that you take in your business, not just by doing the branding alone, by combining a lot of activities together, for example, branding, marketing, and yes, there is a huge difference between branding and marketing. The two things are not the same. Branding and marketing, two completely separate things. It is the combination of activities that contribute to the brand value. Branding, marketing, operations of the business, sales of the business, how you communicate, how the customers perceive, what is the perception of your business to the consumers, to the customers, how do they how do they resonate with your business as a whole. So there's a combination of activities that come together and they give a value to your business, to your name, to the brand value. There is a reason why Birkin purses, why Gucci, why Prada, why certain watch brands, Patek Philippe, Rolex, why are these Omega, why are these watches sold for a higher value than they were purchased? There are certain models of cars which are sold for more value than they were initially purchased for. So there's a combination of things that come together in unison, and that is what gives your the name of your business a value, a brand value. So that is a completely earnest thing. Now, secondly, you were going on the right track. To understand branding, you need to know the history as well. Uh, my parents used to tell me, if you need to succeed in life, you need to know your history. If you do not know the history, you will not know how to act in the future. You need to know what happened in the past for you to be able to successfully take certain actions in the future and in your present, so that you can calculate every single move. In the past, like Sunny explained, branding was still there, it was present. 2000 years ago from today, 3000 years ago from today, yes, the branding existed. However, the nature of branding that was done back then may not be the same as today. Multiple thousands of years ago, when branding was done, they did not use to promote or advertise their products. Instead, they used to use a hot iron and give a label to their cattle, to the animals, to the animals that they owned in their poultry farms, just for the people to know that this cattle, this animal is owned by this farm and represents these values. Then in the Middle Ages, as we evolved, branding also evolved. Come into 17th century, in 1704, the first paper advertisement came out. I believe, sorry, that was the Boston newspaper, where the first ad was printed, first ever newspaper printed ad, where the publisher himself was trying to sell the ad space. So the first ad was not about an advertisement of a product or a service. The first advertisement that was ever printed was an ad selling the ad space in the newspaper. And then the first ever popular type of ad, not popular ad, popular type of ad in the newspaper industry in the mid 17th century was the lost and found and real estate ads. These were the spaces that were taking the majority of a space in the newspaper. And then it was Bulova in the mid 18th century that came out with the first television commercial. Imagine that. First television commercial. And I will do you guys one better. I'm gonna play this YouTube clip of the first Bulova commercial. Watch this. They are going to say at the bottom, the only phrase used in this video clip was America runs on bull over time. Watch this clip, guys.
America runs on bull of a time.
This is what I mean. How the advertisements used to work back in 18th century. Then, as we progressed, as we evolved, as the advertisement industry evolved, Coca-Cola, Chanel, these brands, they came out and they were the pioneers on how the advertisement was really done on a global volume scale. I mean, there are so many tons and tons and tons of examples. Why don't you look at some examples that were done by David Ogilvy? David Ogilvy was one of the very important people when it comes to advertising. His book is still very famous on how the advertisement should be done. He was the one who revolutionized Marlboro cigarettes. He was the one who presented that advertisement, the Rolls-Royce ad. Today we know that Rolls-Royce is the only car manufacturer today, or one of very few, who can produce engines that do not vibrate or make a lot of sound. You can put a coin on top of a running engine in a Rolls-Royce and it will not fall. And the only reason that thing is publicly known is because David Ogilvy came out with that advertisement, came out with the strategy on how to publish that ad. So there is something we need to learn from the history on how branding and marketing really is done, and then steal some concepts from those early days into your own small business. Now, the society is evolving, and there are so many things that you guys can undergo, and we will go later down in the video. But before we move on to next topic, what are your thoughts on this, Sunny?
Yeah, we 18th century was a boom in the advertising space as well, a boom in the mass production as well, globalization as well. Key leaders that involved were, like you mentioned, Coca-Cola. Their floating font, that was a very well thought idea, that representing the happiness around the brand, and it also representing the refreshing flavor that the brand provided, which is the Coke. um, there were other campaigns run by Coke as well, which we'll talk about later. Then we have Quaker Oats. Quaker Oats, they represented their brand based on a Quaker man, and the Quaker man at that time represented key values like honesty, integrity, and those were chosen to ensure the public or the consumer of a good, trusty brand, and that was the initiative behind that. Um, and then as we move towards from 18th century into the 19th century, we come across that okay, brands were being recognized and they wanted to grow. They had equipment to grow, and they wanted to across the countries. And then we see that okay, the main concept that was brought up was brand recognition at that time. For example, McDonald's golden arches were the main brand recognized across the globe. From any country to any country you can go, they kept their brand of that golden arches across the continents. So that was a good thing that came up. And we move into the 19th century. Any key uptakes in the 19th century, Archit?
Yeah, in the 19th century, like we discussed, Sunny, the David Ogilvy thing, he was one of the pioneers in how the digital marketing landscape today really takes a lot of examples from. If you see digital marketing agencies out there, a lot of them are still using key principles and key advisory strategies that David Ogilvy at that time introduced to the world on how to present a certain ad for the maximum impact on the customers in order to persuade and convince them to buy what you are selling. Because you have to understand, this is not the economy of the print, this is the economy of the digital. And if you do not move fast with the community, with the world, with the with the digital landscape, you will be left behind. Not only will you be left behind, you will be crushed. Like we see so many small businesses who fail to continue with the community, to continue with the one of the most important things. This is, and we will move on to this topic, Sunny. One of the very important things a lot of small businesses in today's day and age fail is just because one very simple thing, which is adaptability. A lot of small business owners, the only reason they're going out of business is the lack of adaptability. They are not able to adapt with the fast landscape of today's world, of today's day and age. A lot of people who consider themselves within themselves that they don't know how marketing and TikTok on YouTube and shorts and reels and Facebook and Instagram doesn't work, and they try to pass on these activities to their sons and daughters and other managers for small businesses, and that is where the key problems happen. I mean, I open my Instagram page, I see so many reels of small businesses across the globe who are trying to come on the digital landscape, and they're getting hundreds of millions, not hundreds. I'm not talking about tens of leads, 10 leads, 50 leads, 100 leads, 2,000 leads, hundreds of million of leads, 100 millions of leads just because of just based off of three videos or two videos, because they published 100 videos, two videos or three videos resonated with the public a lot, and people have been purchasing $5,000 worth of plane tickets just to go over to their business and get that service, whatever they're offering, over their product, whatever they're offering. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Sunny, what do you think about branding in small business? What are some of the issues that small businesses are facing today when it comes to branding and marketing? Why do we see so many small businesses never adapting to the ever evolving landscape of branding? Go ahead.
Discuss for the small businesses. Um, like you to take an example from large businesses, see how they work around it. In 1931, there was a memo published in Procter and Gamble by a person called Neil McElroy. Um, at that point, the memo was that we need, in terms of this direction, that we, for each product, we need brand men, and to discussion on that, brandman recognized that brand ambassadors, or brand managers for each of the product line. Now Procter and Gamble, they had multiple lines of product under their umbrella. I'm talking about Gillette, I'm talking about say diapers, Pampers, and multiple others as well. So all of these line of products earlier were under Procter and Gamble, but they were not being developed as a one brand in itself. They at that point, there was a memo that represented the value of creating brand men, or brand managers for each product line. Now, most of the big players in the market, say Unilever, P&G, they have line of products. Say Gillette. Now, Gillette will have its own teams. They will have operation, they will have sales, they will have marketing, and they will also have brand managers that are managing the value or the content of the brand, what the brand is representing to the public. Now, a lot of that goes into from the major players in the market. However, when we look at small businesses, that is not the case. We a small businesses in Canada, we're talking about 55% of the businesses, small businesses that we have, they employ 1 to 5 employees. So think about small business in that term. So if you have 5 employees in a business that is operating 5 6 days a week, would you have a brand manager in place? That's not going to be the case. So there is a lot of input that the owner will have to do in terms about raising the brand value of that small business. Now, it involves around a lot of other things. Say we have right now various social media sites like websites, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and a few others as well. If a small business or owner or a person is looking to increase a brand value, they'll have to work on marketing the brand. They'll have to work on branding the brand itself to the public, which will take a lot of efforts from the person. So it is in a way a big pie of the business itself, which is overlooked by the small businesses. So I like to urge and have that direction be followed by the small businesses, which the large businesses are already doing it. So in order to compete with the large businesses, the bare minimum is you have to keep up with the current trends. If they do not, then that business is falling behind. I think that is where I stand on that.
Let me tell you. So I bought a condominium unit in Mississauga by Square One, and I went to furnish that unit to a corner furniture shop. The only reason I went to that furniture shop is because I was driving by the street. I was driving by the street and I saw this furniture store. They had one sign, just one sign out of the store saying 70% off, everything must go. This is the sign they had outside the store. So, you know what, let's give it a try. I bought this condominium unit, so I went inside, and the furniture pieces that they had, well, whatever the furniture pieces that they had left inside the store, they were not to my taste, but I did have opportunity to speak with the person who was the salesperson, and I asked him, what's up with the sign, everything must go, are you guys getting a new shipment, do I need to wait for the new shipment, I do not paying a little bit more for better furniture pieces, because whatever you have in the store, I particularly, that was not particular to my taste as to what I want in my condominium unit. And the person who I was speaking with, thinking if that was a salesperson, turned out to be the owner of the store. And I asked him what happened. And do I need to wait? Are you ordering in new pieces? What's going on? He told me he's going out of the business. Why? Because the big chains, Wayfairs of the world, IKEAs of the world, and massive online retailers are killing his business. Now, does Wayfair does not have any tangible real estate out there? No, Wayfair does. Wayfair actually does. They have pop-up stores and they have massive warehouses where they're keeping all their inventory. But what is Wayfair or IKEA doing? By the way, in IKEA, you can literally walk in and you can select what you want. You can see what you want. You can sit and try what you want, and then you can buy it what you want. If you cannot do that at Wayfair. And I asked this person, he said he's going out of the business because he's not able to compete at their prices. Why is that the case? Why is he not able to compete? He's not doing the same level of branding. He's not doing the same level of marketing. He does not have same level of thousands of employees that Wayfair and IKEA does. He does not have 100,000 square feet of warehouses that Wayfair and IKEA does. Why exactly is that he's going out of business? He's going out of the business because the customers would rather buy at a place where they can buy affordable piece of furniture. And how do the customers know that there are some places, some websites, or some warehouses existing in the world called Wayfair or IKEA or Amazon or other retailing places? The only reason they know is because those businesses, they are branding themselves. This person could not adapt to the ever evolving digital landscape. This person never invested into the operations of his business. This person never invested into the staff of his business. This person never imagined how much he can invest in terms of branding, in terms of the vision that he wanted to take his business in. He just knew this is where he would get the cheap furniture for. He knew this is how much he would market up for, and he knew that he would then sell it to the consumers. How would he sell it to the customers when he's literally not doing any branding or marketing? Just the same way I went into the store. Passing by the street, mistakenly saw this sign outside the store, went inside. That's it. His whole business idea was on cars passing by the street, and that's it. That is not the branding and marketing we are talking about here. Our branding and marketing involves a thorough plan, a thorough SOP, a thorough standard of procedure. What will be done at what step? A branding and marketing is not something that you just post some videos and some photos on digital platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube, video platforms, Rumble, whatever the case is, and then hope that you would have people lining up out your store to buy whatever you're selling. No, that's not how it works. You need to create ads. You need to invest in ads. You need to tell people why your ad is more eye popping than a competitor's ad. You need to give people what they're looking for. You need to tell people why your furniture store is thousand times better than your competitor's business store. What if in one single intersection, in one single neighborhood, you have four furniture stores? One of them is doing marketing and branding. Who do you think will have the maximum amount of sales? The person who is doing the marketing and branding. Now, while branding and marketing is important, so is sales. What is the outbound? What is the outbound sales activity that your business is doing to actively pursue new customers? If, let's say, I am going and scrolling some videos, I am sleeping on the bed, before going to sleep I am just watching some YouTube shorts and just scrolling my thumb on the screen of the phone until the phone battery dies. I see a couple advertisements, they are really catchy, I connect with them, but then what happened after? I click on one of the ads, it took me to a page, it said answer your name, your date of birth, where you live, why you love this product, would you want to buy this product? At that step, I just come out and that's it. What is the outbound activity done by the business itself to come and reach out to me? Okay, Archit, you came to our page but you did not purchase. What was the reason? Can we help you? Can we assist you? Is there something we can do for you? What made you come to our website? How did you come to our website? Was there something that you liked? Was there something to your interest? Let us help you choose something. If not, maybe we can even just negotiate the price. Oh, yes. You can never stay fixed on a price, especially if you're a small business. A lot of businesses out there think that they will stay firm on the price that they're selling, and the customers will respect that. And if the customers buy, if the customers want to buy, they will buy. If not, then they'll. No, as a small business, you are still trying to grow. Your price cannot stay fixed. You cannot stay firm. There should be some room of negotiation. Now, that doesn't mean that you just come off to the consumer right away and tell them, hey, let me bring this 80% discount so that you can buy. No, not that aggressive discount as well. But you should always be open to an idea that during the pitch, during the selling process to the customer, however they came into your store, whether was it through an online ad or by if they saw a sign from the street, you should always expect there is going to be some room for negotiation with the customer in order to proceed with the sale of whatever you are selling. And this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say lack of adaptability by a lot of small businesses out there. They fail to understand these very small concepts. Now, there are thousand other things that are being done by the major players like Amazons of the world, Wayfairs and IKEA, on how they are selling on their brand value. How are they leveraging their brand value? Before we move on, any thoughts on how small businesses fail because of branding, Sunny?
Yeah, they right now branding is not just about being out there and then have a sign in place, have a website in place, have logos in place. No, it has evolved quite a bit to current modern stage of branding. I can give you a few examples. Uh, Patagonia is one of the brands. The brand has represented a lot of environmental values in itself. We have seen campaigns being run or advertisement being run in the store saying, "Don't buy this jacket if you don't need to." So imagine a store selling a jacket, and that's the sign you see. So why is that the case? That's the case because the owner of the brand, that person is also pro-environmental. The values that the brand holds are more towards how to protect the planet, what things to do, what things not to do. And people on certain level, they respect that. They want to associate themselves with the brands that have firm values in place, that they have firm beliefs in place, that they feel like they're doing a good job, that they feel like they're serving the earth, the mother earth. So that was one case. Another case I can describe is the legendary Ben and Jerry's case. Ben and Jerry's, they're very active on social issues. You're gonna see some of the even the flavors come out as or towards some social injustice, or trying to represent some social norm that they feel like needs to have a face value in place. So people respect that. People vouch out for those things. People say, hey, this is really good. Hey, I believe in this aspect of life. I believe in this value of a chain. I believe in this particular brand because the brand holds a value, or the brand holds some moral and ethic in place. They see the brand as a personality. They see the brand as a real entity in itself. So this has changed over time. It wasn't like this. It has changed over time. So looking at the small businesses, this is what I'll say: have your brand in front of the people. That's the first thing, which we discussed, like marketing, that you need to be present digitally and make yourself aware to the public. If you're not doing it, that means you're already missing out on the world that is only on the digital side. There might be somebody that is going to work, coming out of work, and his route is just the travel between the bus. If your brand is not falling on that route that the bus takes, then there is no way this person will come across you. In order for you to be out there, you need to be on the digital platforms as well. That way you can reach out to multiple people. That way you can be out there if somebody is looking out for certain things that you provide. So that's the first thing. Then the values and ethics and morals, they come along with as well. That you need to stand up for things, or some innovative ideas that you have, or some values that you hold different from the rest of the world, different from rest of the competition. That is how your competitiveness in the world will show. And I believe that is what you should strive out for. What do you think, Archit?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Sunny. And this is to some extent extremely accurate, whatever you are saying, and you're going on the right track, Sunny. And there are so many small businesses out there that still refuse to take that step, that high road of adaptability. This game is not about ego. This game is not how you feel. This game is not how uncomfortable you feel when it comes to branding or marketing. Nobody out there is asking for the small business owners to show their face, or to dance in front of the cameras, or to do some things in order to promote their business. No, you don't always have to do those things. What marketing and branding really means is that come out with a consistent brand. Now there are some small businesses who have really succeeded in these things. If you have a website, you have a logo, you have branding in store and off an outside store. Now check this out. Google, everybody loves Google search. Everybody is completely aware about Google search. Some people only search whatever they want to search on Google. Now for marketers, for branding people, Google have offered two things. One is off page, and one is on page. Now Google search is a Google search on the same platform, which is online in the internet. However, what off page and on page means is that in on page, people will optimize your website. They will optimize your Google name. How when people search with an intent, this is what I'm looking for. For example, dental office near me. For example, pizza near me. For example, Tim Hortons near me. For example, a coffee shop near me. For example, a restaurant near me, an Indian restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, a Mediterranean restaurant near me. That is when your the name pops up. And then there is off page. Off page means what is happening on the main page of Google, what is happening on Google Maps, what is happening on blogs, what is happening when the person clicks off on a link, and where does that take them. So similarly, there are two types of branding and marketing. One is which is going on in store of your small business, and then one is which is going out of the store, which is in the digital space, which is on the internet. What exactly are you doing? How do people know? If I have a business that exists in just one location in this city, how would the person in another city know that your business exists? Because trust me, if somebody has a liking to what you offer, they will travel hundreds of kilometers just to buy whatever you are selling. People will do that. Imagine this. If you want to adopt a dog, if you want to adopt a cat, you don't have a dog breeder or a cat breeder near you. If you don't have adoption sites near you, people want to adopt those. They will travel hundreds and kilometers of kilometers just to adopt a dog and then bring him back and then pay yearly dues and then pay insurance and everything. So it's not that if you're existing here and then two cities apart, people will not come because you're selling whatever you're selling in this city. That is out of the equation by this point. What are your thoughts, Sunny?
There are certain things if you do and you hold that market very well. For example, it could be, say, you have a company and you provide services in laundry, and you have 10 laundromats in the area. All of them are servicing the same area, same within 5-10 kilometers of a distance, same hotels, restaurants, public schools. So your customer base is all the same. In that scenario, you'll need to think as to what your other competitors are not actually doing that could benefit the customer. You're coming from a point of view where you are considering yourself as a customer and thinking, okay, this business is doing that business is doing this, my business is doing this particular activity. How can I, as a customer who lives 10 kilometers far out, who has business number B in the nearby, would still think about my businesses which is 10 kilometers out? It could be, say, maybe rest of the businesses are providing in-house laundry, and their value is comparatively the same as you, but they do not provide folding services. You can discount the folding services for the first month. I'm just saying an example. It could be something else. You could say, I will deliver to you. You could add on the service. There could be a surcharge that you do. That's a different story. You can add the services on top of what your premises is selling and then add things on top. You will never know the market what the market wants, but you can explore the market in different aspects. You can innovate in your own markets, see what works, what doesn't work, see what clients are looking to get, have some customer reviews, have some customer surveys, see if I have 50 clients, what those 50 clients are expecting from you, what things can you improve in your own facility that could benefit them, what things are they looking towards to have from you. Those are customer responses. Maybe somebody posted a comment on your website saying the price was not fair. Reach out to that person, see what fair price actually is for them, work out a deal, be available, be out there, be responsive. That's what customers are looking towards right now. Price is not the main factor right now. There's a lot of companies out there that are not selling the price, that are not selling the product. They're selling a lifestyle, they're selling values, they're selling innovation. I'll let you take that lead on, Archit.
That was pretty intense, Sunny. Pretty intense. But yes, while it was intense, it is completely true. Price is not the first thing you guys should be focused on. Trust me, I have had a digital marketing company and I know about this. When I spoke with customers, when I used to do cold call, when I used to onboard the customers, price was never an issue. It was the quality of service. The main problem that customers used to ask for is that how will that improve their business? They would rather pay me three times the premium than what the competitor may be charging for the same thing that I am offering, but they are more concerned about how their business would turn out in the end. So price is not something you should be looking at. You should be looking at how to deliver the service more affordable and with a higher quality and standard with your branding at the back. Because if you have branding at the back, then you will not only do the service, get the goodwill, but also you will get earned brand value. You will tell people, okay, this is the place, go to this place for the service. People will recommend, refer you, and trust me, word of mouth is the best. There is no such thing as word of mouth going out of business. Word of mouth is today still the king. Word of mouth was the king 7,000 years ago. Word of mouth is the king in today's generation as of 2025, and there for another 50 years as well. That is how people build trust on how good a business could be. Because trust me, if I want to go out and search for a dent, if I have a problem in my mouth, if I have a problem with my teeth, I am not. I would rather go on Google, or I would rather ask my friend if they can refer a good dental office for me, because there are such a few dental offices out there that are marketing themselves in such a way where I might feel comfortable. Okay, just the mere existence of dental office would not convince me if I should go there and get my teeth checked up. Now there is a dental office on pretty much every single corner, on every single intersection on the street. However, every dental office is different. How they deliver the service is going to be different. How they perform their dental activities is going to be different. And I want to go to a dental office that can do the operation not only in extremely affordable price, but in such a quality and with such exceptional care, where I feel a community, where I feel belongingness, while the practitioner himself is quite experienced. So rather than going out, I would rather ask somebody else, hey, how is this dental office? Can you recommend me a dental office? And if I cannot go to somebody and ask for them for a word of mouth referral, you know what a dental office can do for those kind of people? They can brand themselves and market themselves in such a way, hey, this is my dental office, this is the team of my practitioners, this is the receptionist, this is the practice manager, this is the person who does all the day-to-day activities, this is the person who performs the surgeries, this is the person who installs the Invisaligns, etc., etc. So very, very creative thing. Now I'll give you a very nice example. Now everybody is familiar with Apple, the company Apple that builds iPhones. Now Apple back in 1984. Now back in 1980s, uh, the major customer of Microsoft came out with the with their own software, with hardware, with computers, and who were their biggest customer at the time? IBM. IBM was buying the majority of the software and hardware that Microsoft was selling. Who thought they could be a huge competitor to IBM? Apple. What Apple did, they came out with a very famous commercial. They came out with such a creative thinking that, trust me, at that time, they had no idea would perform in such a way where after the commercial, when they started selling Macintosh computers in competition to Microsoft computers, Macintosh computers, while they were selling it for thousands of dollars, I think the first computer was sold for above $5,000. I can be incorrect, but I think they were thousands of dollars, very expensive computers at that time because they were just launched, and yet they were completely sold out just because of one commercial, just based off of one commercial. Apple was pretty famous for this commercial when they launched this in 1984. A lot of you have already seen this commercial for the first Macintosh. Let me play this clip for you really quick.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the Information Purification Directives. We have created, for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of very contradictory thoughts. Purification, of course, is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause.
January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Now, in this clip, you can see how Apple they sold the idea of Macintosh. Now, if you see in this commercial, they did not really come out and say, hey, we are Apple company, hey, we are electronic company, we sell you iPhones, we sell you Macintosh computers. No, they sold a community, they sold a culture, they sold a culture shift, and most importantly, they sold the date. In the whole commercial, never once did they say we are electronics company, never did they say we sell laptops, never did they say we sell desktops. No, this is something a small business can do in a similar way. When you see thousands and thousands of ads, if you go on Facebook and Instagram and you decide, okay, you know what, I feel inspired, I feel motivated, I'm going to go out and buy some ad space on Facebook, Google, YouTube, Instagram. But what happens? You see already thousands and thousands of people with thousands and thousands of ads already playing, and you might feel a little bit down to see that there are so much competition already going on in digital space. How can I stand out? I don't want to waste dollars buying advertisement space and then no result comes to fruition. Well, this is what Apple did in back in 1984. Today we are living in 2025. Back in 1984, rather than selling the product itself, they are selling the culture shift, and the date. This is the tangible product you sell in reality, but in the ad, you are selling completely something else. You are selling the emotion. If you are a furniture store, and this is just an example, you do not have to do this. And maybe if you're already running ad, maybe you can take some ideas or maybe you can take some inspiration from this one idea. Now, I used to do some digital marketing, so I have some idea. Furniture store can sell the emotion on these real platforms, YouTube shorts or some YouTube clips or some Facebook reels. They can make a video of selling the emotion of somebody purchasing a piece of furniture from their store, or an emotion of somebody walking in the store. You don't need to sell the furniture. What you need to sell is the emotion with the name of your store in the video, so that people are able to connect the emotion that the person is showing in the ad and the emotion that they are having, whatever the emotion is, while they are entering to your store. This emotion could be of happiness, this emotion can be of peace, this emotion can be of community, this emotion can be of funny videos when we see funny things happening in the videos, where the where you can be extremely creative, as creative as possible. But this is just one single idea. You don't really need to do this. Now, there are several other things that as a small business owner you can take. Another example I'll give you. Now, I like to travel a lot. So I went with my friends on a trip. We drove from Ontario to Washington. This is roughly a 10-hour drive, 8 to 10-hour drive from Ontario to Washington State in the United States last year. And there was this one small cafe shop that we stopped at. Now, when we went to this cafe shop, not prior to us buying the coffee or prior to them giving us the coffee, they took our email addresses down, our age down, and they asked us this one question: why are we ordering the coffee that we ordered at that time? They asked us why were we ordering that particular taste. And today, that was last year, and today I'm still getting their emails through email marketing. And trust me, I'm impressed. It's not that I do not like the idea of them sending me spam emails. No, I like the idea. And this is something a lot of small businesses can also incorporate in their own business, where they are selling me with the flavors. They are telling me, hey, Archit, this is a flavor that you might try, you might like. You can order it through our website. See, Not only are they just selling the coffees in their stores, in their cafe shops, they are also increasing their website sales by selling whatever they are selling through email marketing. So that is one key thing that separates them through hundreds of cafe shops out there that are selling coffees. Starbucks, take an example of Starbucks. Do you think when Starbucks market themselves, they market selling coffees? No. Starbucks doesn't market themselves selling coffee. Starbucks does branding and marketing of them selling the community, the emotion of togetherness, the emotion of you relaxing when you come into a Starbucks store. I mean, I go to a Starbucks store and I see so many students uh, with their laptops and their iPads and their tablets open on the desk while they're having their third Starbucks coffee, and they have been sitting there for hours. And Starbucks doesn't put any restriction that a person has to be sitting there for only limited time now. And yet, there are so many people who would rather have a Starbucks coffee than trying any other small business cafe shop. And then people wonder what is Starbucks doing that my cafe shop is not doing. Then, a second thing what a small business can do to stand out in an ever evolving digital landscape of branding and marketing is create a website. Just you creating a website for your small business can take you leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of small business competition out there. And then what you can do even more, one step even forward than a lot of other small businesses who also might have a shitty website or anything, you can put photos of your product category. You have a product category. If you're a furniture store, you have furnitures, fine. Upload pictures, good professional grade photos of the furniture that you are selling on your website. That does not mean that you are selling your furniture online. What that means is that if a customer goes, if a consumer, if a lead, if somebody goes to a website and they check out the pictures of the furniture, they will get a better idea on what they really want to buy. Make them one step closer to actually buying from your store. A third thing you can do is have contests or giveaways. For example, in trucking companies, a lot of trucking companies, what they do in order to keep their drivers drive safely on road and to motivate them to drive safely, following all laws and follow all safety procedures and protocols, there are certain trucking companies that give out gift cards, Tim Hortons gift cards, Starbucks gift cards, McDonald's gift cards, that hey, this is the month you follow literally all safety procedures and protocols. Similarly, in your small business, you can hold certain contests or giveaways where you can offer free stuff to the customers, or you can create what industry calls a loss leader. What that means, that is a brand new term for a lot of people out there. What a loss leader means is that you can sell one product at a very below market price. Let's say this pen, if the competition and everybody is selling this pen for $5, you can come out and say, I am going to sell this pen for 50 cents. See, while everybody's selling this for $5, you can sell this for 50 cents. However, the only difference is other people, they are selling their pens as is. You can sell your pen for 50 cents. However, if somebody really likes to collect pens or anything, you can sell the case of the pen or an extra refill or an extra ink for $4 or $6 or $7. See, now while everybody's selling one pen for $5, you can make an extra buck or two just off of the one pen. How expensive do you think is it to get an ink or refill to manufacture for a pen? Not very expensive. So a loss leader is something, while you are selling one thing for a below market price, you can upsell a second thing for a far greater price to attract more people and to sell them, to provide them a better service, not to sell them blindly something very cheaply and then sell them the second thing for an aggressive expensive price. That is also not a good thing, got good business practice. A third thing that you can do is actually join Facebook communities. How many times has it happened when you woke up in the morning and the first thing that you did was to check your Facebook page, check your Instagram page, to see that if you commented on a post, did somebody else comment to your post, to your comment? So you can also join a Facebook community where you can literally sell and advertise on your small business and let people know I exist, my small business exists. Come and buy from me, ask me questions. These are some really interesting things that a small business can do, and a lot of you do not do these things. It is extremely easy to nod and say that yes, we will do what we do. However, tons and tons of small businesses out there, they have never been able to participate in all these activities all by themselves, and that is becoming one of the leading causes why the small business is not able to exist past their first 5 years. But before I move on, any thoughts, Sunny?
Yeah, a lot of things that small businesses can do. To put some frame of reference to the thought process behind some ideas, like you mentioned, look at Starbucks. Starbucks is actually selling a third place between home and work. They're selling a community that you can come to relax. We look at Apple. Apple is Apple is actually selling innovation. Is selling the importance of being a outthinker, being a rebel, being able to think differently and leave an impact on the world. There are still campaigns that they run that work around that design of that initial campaign ads. For example, their ads will be like a student drawing an art on the iPad. And they're not selling the iPad; they're selling the idea behind the drawing of an art. So that's the idea, that's the ideology behind it. Other examples could be, for example, a company called Roots in Canada. They have a beaver in the logo. That beaver is a national emblem to Canada. So they're representing Canadian culture. They're representing the wilderness out there. If you go into the stores have an outdoorsy, woody environment that represents that comfy cottage life, outdoorsy, adventurous life. They're selling that. If you look at Nike's ideology was around athleticism, competitiveness, the daily challenges, how you improve on things, the athletes being beating the records. There was a subcategory for Nike which was Air Jordans, which was launched and always been an outsell. Michael Jordan's brand with the integrity, with the honors, came up and joined with Nike, and both the brands went up in reputation. Uh, other were like, for example, Air Canada. Air Canada has shown to be the carrier that flies, or that has Canadian flag when it flies. So it sells to the consumers a feeling of being Canadian even when they're abroad or when they're taking the flights. Their lounges will specifically offer you wines which are Canadian driven, local Canadian produced, food that sells Canadian food items. So they're selling that feeling of being Canadian even when you're outside Canada. So that's there. For example, uh, Tim Hortons is actually selling you a morning ritual. When people say I'm going to have a double double in Canada, they really mean they are going to the Tim Hortons to get the double double. It's become a ritual. If you've worked in Canada, you have a student life, you've been in the environment, you will know what that means. So they're selling that community of people that have a morning ritual that they follow. Um, Tim Horton has also campaigned around and shared some fundings on, for example, hockey leagues for young adults. They have campaigned for it, so they're promoting that Canadian life that people are living around. Um, I think that's all I have for now.
No, you're coming on the right point. You're coming on the right point, Sunny. Nike's and Air Canada's points and routes. These are some really interesting points, and people need to research these things. By the way, these are other than Nike, Roots, and Air Canada. These are Canadian companies. They also started somewhere. Okay, they are not that come into presence with billions of dollars of sales every year into their business. They also started somewhere. They also had losses. They also had multiple issues in their companies, and in the end, they came out and they're able to build a brand out of themselves. Now, one of the very famous examples that I can think of right now at this point is Coca-Cola's commercial back in 1971. Now that was a pioneer in all by in itself. Remember, 17th century, that was the first printed advertisement ever came out. But in 1971, Coca-Cola, and this was back even before 1984, Apple's famous commercial. In 1971, Coca-Cola came out with this commercial where they got all these people from all over the place together in one single location, shot an ad, and then had them drink a Coca-Cola while singing the song "I'd Like to Buy World a Coke." I do not know how many of you out there remember this commercial, but this was a very interesting commercial of its time back in the 1970s. I mean, look at the risk that Coca-Cola took. Nobody had done this sort of a thing in the past. They could not refer to anybody else's example. They took this risk and it paid off. It paid off. They were selling togetherness, community, peace, building a strong community with that one ad. Now I can build an ad and I can say, hey, this jacket, buy this jacket. This jacket's really cool. Or I can say, why are you suffering in winters when you have options to keep yourself warm? Now I can either sell the product itself or I can sell the emotion behind wearing the particular product on whatever you are selling. So take some ideas. You don't have to copy the ideas. You can take some ideas from these multi-billion dollar brands on how they actually started off. Like I said, knowing the history is extremely important to your actions in present and future. And another thing, like you said, Sunny, with Nike had its own issues back in early 2000s. I don't know how many of you remember this. In 2000s, people were protesting against Nike. I mean, today, if we go to Nike shops in malls and stores, people are lining up to buy Nike stuff. You go to outlets of Nike, people are lining up. And back in 2000s, people were connecting Nike with poor labor practices and sweatshops. People were claiming, environmental activists and environmentally active people were claiming that Nike was using illegal child practices, sweatshops, and poor labor practices to create their shoes. Now, even today, we know that approximately 30 to 40% of all the product that Nike is selling is being manufactured in places like Vietnam and China and Bangladesh. While Nike is building extremely minimum amount of their stuff in the United States or Canada, that does not mean that Nike is actually doing what people are claiming. It could be true, what people are saying could be true, but there is no way of proving, at least at this point. Coming back to the topic, these allegations put a dent in Nike's business. And to recover from this damage, what did Nike do? Like Sunny said, they came out and they promoted their branding, their connectivity with athleticism. They partnered up with athletes. They partnered up with other pro athletes into another sports, into another categories to promote transparency. Invited people to their places where they used to build their shoes, their other accessories, and while they had their competitors like Adidas or Under Armour who were trying to catch up to Nike, Nike was able to take themselves off guard and increase their sales by taking some measures such as creating a brand around transparency, partnering up with certain influencers, partnering up with the correct athletes, promoting athleticism, and promoting the idea of just do it, their slogan. These are some things that people can take an example of. Small businesses, corner grocery stores, corner convenience stores, dental offices, motels, real estate businesses. I mean, let's talk about real estate business. Real estate agents and real estate brokers and mortgage brokers. You go to US economy, you go to Canadian economy. Why is it that this is the case where only 10 or 15% of all the real estate agents are doing 85% of the business? There are about 75 to 80,000 realtors in just the province of Ontario alone, and only 10% of those 75 to 80,000 real estate agents are doing 90% of all the business. And the only reason they are doing it because they invest into the idea of branding and marketing themselves, their own business. They create teams, they optimize their performance, they optimize their expenses, they optimize how and how much they want to spend and how they want to strategically do the branding and marketing of their own business. So these things are extremely important. Small businesses, they cannot grow, they cannot scale because they do not try to adapt to all this ever evolving landscape of marketing and branding. It is extremely important, guys, for you guys to start getting aboard this train. But moving on towards the end of this podcast, do you have any thoughts on what certain small businesses can do, what they haven't done in the past? What can they do today to adapt to the idea of branding and marketing and maybe change the course from barely surviving into a thriving business? Your thoughts, Sunny?
There's a lot of things that, Archit, I'm sure that you notice as well. Around the corner shops, the first thing to start would be website. Would be a website on a Google. That way, anybody who's in the neighbor can search you out. Should be, say, a good signage outside the place as well. A well lit sign and some poster, like well lit posters that can show without even walking in that okay, what you do actually, what kind of things you sell. It could be that, could be running marketing ads on digital platforms. Those are some basic things that I think a small business uh, might think into investing their dollar in to get a good return.
Yeah,
Um,
that is very true, Sunny. Just getting on board of investing your few dollars into online marketing such as Facebook, such as Instagram, such as Google, such as YouTube. There are hundreds of platforms out there for you to try your business on. uh, Understand these people. The small things, they matter a lot. They add up and they matter a lot. They can make a huge shift. They can make a huge change in the existence of your small business. I mean, there are tons and tons of books. There are tons and tons of material available out there on how a small business can actually take themselves leaps and beyond, leaps and bounds ahead in the future, uh, just from the mere survivability to actually a thriving business. Now, an example could be taken by how this entrepreneur in US, Mark Cuban, he is also sitting on he used to also sit on the Shark Tank in the TV show in the US, where they used to invest in business. Now, he started his own business called Cost Plus Drugs, where he's trying to disrupt the pharmaceutical industry. And small businesses can 100% take an example out of this book. Now, you might think that Mark Cuban is a billionaire and we cannot do the same strategies that he is doing, but in fact, a lot of us can really do. I mean what he is doing with this business, whether he is a Democrat, liberal, Republican, politics aside, this is something a lot of small businesses can take. For example, Cost Plus Drugs is based on the business that If a pharmaceutical company is coming out with a drug, and let's say over the counter that drug is costing you, let's say $50, well, why is it costing you $50? Is it because the cost to build that product, that drug, is $5 and the $45 is the markup? Or is it the cost itself is $40 and the $10 is the markup? Cost plus drugs does the same. They do the opposite. They tell you this is the markup. They, if you go on their website and you tell them what drug you're trying to buy, they will tell you that yes, they will disclose you that yes, we do markups, and this is the cost of the product, this is our markup, and this is how much you will buy. Complete transparency for the customer to know what they are buying. Second thing could be the marketing and branding science. Now, science does not mean that you actually go into a lab and you decide and you become a mad scientist in marketing and branding. No, science means what Amazon, Starbucks, yeah, these companies they are doing, Chipotle, what these companies are doing to market themselves in front of the customers. Now they get into nitty gritty. When you are doing marketing and branding, what is extremely important is to follow the metrics, follow the analytics. Metrics and analytics, two things extremely important. If the customer is coming into your store, why is the customer coming into your store? If the customer is coming at 11 a.m., why is the customer coming at 11 a.m.? Why not 10 a.m.? Why not 12 p.m.? Ask yourself these questions. What kind of person is coming inside your store? Is it a 50-year-old? Is it a 70-year-old? Is it a 20-year-old? What does the customer do? Is he a businessman? Is he an employee? Is he a self-employed? What does the person do? Is he married? Is she with a partner? Is it just a boyfriend girlfriend? What does the customer do? Who are they? Are they Muslim? Are they Hindu? Are they Christian? Are they Jewish? What religion are they? Track, follow every single metric, every single analytics, and this will help you who to market, how to market yourself when you have all this data. And collect email addresses, just like I gave the example of the cafe shop that me and my friends went to on our trip to Washington. Their emails, when I still receive them, I know the next time I'm going to New York or Washington, I am 100% stopping at that cafe place once again. Maybe twice, maybe thrice. I don't know, but I will, because I know how they are promoting themselves. I want to support the small businesses that taken the time to care for the customers. And then the last thing I would say, in my opinion, is going to be storytelling. Customers, believe this or not, in this day and age, customers want to be involved. Who are you? What are you? Where do you come from? Why did you start this small business? Why do you think the private equity firms, when they buy businesses off of a small business owner, and then they turn around and they make it a multi-billion dollar success? The only reason they do is because they are able to do exactly the same things that as a small business owner you are not able to do. They create storytelling. They make stories. They make branding stories, marketing stories. They present their business, the product, everything in front of the customer, and they watch how do the customers react. What do the customers think of their product? Create transparency around your product, around your business to the people. These are some things that a lot of small business owners can really get into nitty gritty uh, of marketing and branding. Any thoughts, Sunny?
No, I think that's the way to go. Small businesses, wish them well. I wish them that they can invest some time, think about what direction the current market is heading towards, and realign their businesses according to that trend. I know owners, small businesses. It's a hectic environment. It takes a big toll on them just to run the operations. However, in order for a business to grow, yes, operation matters a lot. Yes, sales matters a lot. However, the market will also be a deciding factor in the current trends right now. So, wish you luck, wish you best, and hopes high.
Enjoy, everybody. Take care.